Hi, fans. Once again, thank you for joining the Iron Hour podcast. I'm joined by two of my usual panelists today. I've got published author Max Bell.
Hey, you Barry, you all right?
I'm very well, thank you. And everyone's favourite Italian psycho, Mr. Poliga. How you doing, Marco?
Well, we're going to get Stabby, remember? I'll take Psycho. Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Under the lights.
Under the lights indeed. And completing the complement today, we have guest panelist, massive Scunny fan, Mr. Tom Shucksmith. How you doing, Tom?
I'm good, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on, Barra.
Well, it's a team effort. Glad to have you. And it's an action-packed episode today. Today we'll look at the game against Chester, of course. Where else could we start? The stalemate on the Welsh border. We will have the question and thoughts from the fans. We'll have the Spine the Camp segment this week, which features Rushall Olympic Vice Chair, Mr. Nick Allen. We'll then preview the Rushall Olympic game and finish with our hero, idiot, and moment of the week. So we have to kick off with the 0-0 draw on Saturday against Chester. I'll be honest, Max, not a great performance for me.
I thought we lacked quality in the final third. There was a number of moments where we perhaps got into a good area, or there was a good opportunity to play the right pass, the right cross, the right through ball. And it just didn't quite click for either side, I thought, actually. And, it got to the last 10 minutes in particular, and you could see that both sides were sort of settling for the point. And for all of our sins, I would say generally that Scunny fans don't like that. I think back to the York game in the National League, a couple of games last season where, this isn't 1976. It's not 2 points for a win anymore. It's 3 points. It only has to come off half the time for you for it to be mathematically worth it. A little bit disappointing, especially in the final third.
Well, do you just talk there about playing for the draw? I mean, one of the standouts for me, Tom, was Fitzsimmons playing for time with kind of 5-6 minutes to go on the clock.
I didn't really understand that. I think to touch on what Max just said, I think it was kind of a team where Chester could get through us time and time again, but they couldn't finish. And we just didn't seem to be able to get through. And it just really wasn't happening, was it, really? And Max will be able to confirm this to me, but I think it was their second choice goalkeeper. And I think the fact that he left that pitch with really not a mark on his shirt, I don't think he really dived. I know he collected a few corners, didn't he? And I think that was about it. He had the Whitehall chance near the end, but I think that just deflected out for a corner anyway. So I don't really understand it, but at the end of the day, we took probably 1-1. 1-1 or 0-0 or anything like that at the start of the game, so I can't really complain. But I just wish we gave it a bit more of a go.
Marco, Tom just touched there on Whitehall. For me, it felt like nothing was sticking on Saturday for him. Have you been a bit disappointed last couple of games with him?
Yeah. It was quite telling on the Humberside interview we did midweek. He said how he's had to sort of change some of his antics after getting married in the summer and obviously having a young-born child. But I think we are missing that, excuse my French, that bitter bastard. I think that has definitely gone from his game. I know Butler said he's got to be careful about when he's taking the yellow cards. He's got to use it wisely because I think if I'm wrong, he's one yellow off a ban now. But obviously that aside, his actual football on the pitch, I think it's definitely not been 100%. There's some game, obviously Warrington before the break, I think he looked off it, but then we mentioned on the last podcast he scored against Doncaster, so he's obviously full fit. Again, I think this formation really does leave him isolated up there, so I do feel for him sometimes. Whereas last season with the three up front, he did have a lot more support, and I think that's why you saw a really good return from him. Look, Butler's laid his stall out. You mentioned last week on the podcast. I don't think it's going to change. So I think we might continue seeing these performances from Whitehall, and I don't think it's down to him.
Interesting that you mentioned there about Whitehall's shithousery, because there was a flashpoint in the first half, just before half time actually, where a player went down under ridiculous circumstances. I'm not sure what happened then. Butler was asked about it, and Butler's kind of version of the story was the player had gone down easy, putting everyone on the spot here. But speak up, did anybody see that incident in a bit more clarity?
I think we all panicked. we all know what Danny Whitehall can be like, But as soon as the referee didn't even go to the linesman, that's when I knew we were going to be okay. If he'd marched over that, 25, 30 yards, your heart really does start fluttering. But you could see it was a bit of a tactic. We've seen it in other games. We saw it against Chorley both this season and last season, where they think Whitehall's got a reaction in him, trying to needle him, trying to see if they can maybe play in the ref subconscious, because he'll be doing his preparation as well as the set of match officials and go, oh, Scunthorpe's number 9 can be a bit lively. And if he's just on the fence about whether or not he's seen something or not. But for me, the test was that whilst that lad did go down like he'd been shot, none of the other Chester players seemed to be going berserk. So, I think one where Whitehall's reputation could have counted against him, but didn't. Good refereeing.
Good refereeing, and actually just going to stick with the refereeing, Tom, and I've got a bit of a controversial opinion. So I know a lot of Iron fans kind of subscribe to the belief that a lot of big decisions go against us, and I've even heard conspiracies about trying to keep us in the league. I have to be honest, on Saturday, I thought 2 big decisions went our way. The first one being the offside call, which was given offside, and they missed the subsequent chance. Having watched the replays back on Gareth's vlog, and initially at the time, it did feel onside, and the replays kind of confirmed it, because where we was direct in line with the forward. So that was the first one. And the second one, possibly a bit more dubious, was the penalty appeal against, I think it was Nicholson and another, can't remember who, but the player kind of came through the gap and then got squashed out. Bit of a cliche, Tom, but I've seen them given.
I think I don't really subscribe to this officiating. It is poor, but I think when it comes to a league like this, the decisions you don't get kind of match up to the ones you do get. So the amount of times I've gone, well, Tom, that was a penalty, or that was a penalty, I go, well, yeah, guess what? Last week, X team that we played should have had this, should have had that. At the end of the day, we're playing in non-league, so you're going to get non-league refs. So unfortunately, you're not going to get no VAR. You're not going to get every decision, and you've just got to play on. I do agree, though, that was not offside. I actually said that on the Saturday. I said we got away on there because I think they kind of put their foot off the gas, thinking, well, he's put his flag up. I don't really need to attack this. I don't think that was offside. I've not seen the replay like yourself, but being there live, I definitely didn't think that was offside.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Look, it's the same with the players. We're not going to get the standard of officiating that you might be used to at the top end of League One or the Championship, heaven forbid. And I know the Chester fans did get stuck into him. I thought the ref had a pretty good game. In terms of the linesman, that's it's him who's giving the offside. It's not the referee. You were sat closer towards the corner flag than I was, Barra, so you'd have had a better view of it. But I would say that the flag came up quite late. I'm not as convinced that it impacted the striker. I mean, I turned around to my dad and went, I think the linesman's done him a favour there, because if his flag hadn't have come up and you're a Chester fan, you're thinking, 7 yards out, 1-on-1, he's blazed it wide. But maybe that's the striker equivalent of a poor refereeing decision. A good opportunity coming your way and you missed the target. But look, I think back to last season at Chester, when for the last 20 minutes, we had a fan running the line, and he was nowhere near the worst official I saw last season. Nowhere near. Wouldn't make the bottom 10.
Very good. Marco, this is a big thing for me. So far this season, Butler has insisted we play a 3-5-2. In all his interviews, he's called it a 3-5-2. He's talked about how progressive and offensive we can be. He calls it a 3-5-2 all the time. Now, in his post-match interview with Humberside, for the very first time this season, I make it, he referred to the formation as a 5-3-2 at times. What did you read anything into that? Is that an admission of a defensive tactic?
Yeah, look, the 5-3-2, let's be honest, it is a 5. We can call it what we want, but in reality, it's a 5. And it's worked really well against the tougher teams, especially away from home. E.g., your Curzons, even at home with Kidderminster. But a point at Chester, we just took that at the start on Saturday morning. So there's no shame in calling it a 5 in the games where a five's needed. I don't think anybody's got a problem with that. It's the fact that when we're at home and we are on the attack or pressing teams, it's still a five. Barrows and either Denton or Kelly, they aren't wingers. Although they're not too bad going forward, they are not wingers. They very rarely get within 20, 30 yards of Whitehall, no matter how you dress it up. And it really just doesn't work. So nobody's got any qualms with five at the back away from home, which is what I think he was alluding to, because, let's be honest, it just was. It's the five at the back when we're at Glanford Park, which is the problem.
Yeah. Again, hitting some controversy tonight, but Tom, if I'm being honest, I was speaking to Gareth halfway through the game, and we were talking about what we playing, what systems we playing, and I said, to me, it just feels like we lack an identity. Like, I don't know that our tactic is to get the ball out wide. I don't know that our tactic is to get the ball through the middle. It does very much sometimes feel that we just vibe it. It's just vibes.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that's slightly worrying me, because I do feel like if the team, whoever we are playing, nullify our wing backs, full backs, whatever Butler thinks they are, I think then we really struggle. And I think that's what kind of happened on Saturday, and even in a few games, really. I think the thing that I don't really understand is I want to kind of see Butler show me like there's a plan B, because it seems to be whether we're playing the lower teams or the higher teams, whether we're having a purple patch in the game or having a bad patch, it's the same formation. I don't seem to be seeing these are if they're taking here, lads. Let's switch it to this and let's overload them. It seems to be I don't really care what's happening. We're going to stick with this formation and we're going to do that, because I think sometimes teams are there for the taking, and we just don't really capitalise on it. I think when we scored, we played Oxford and we scored in the first 10 minutes, didn't we? And I thought, okay, we could really get these now. And then we just seemed to go back in our shape, go back in the five, and then just kind of just invite pressure. And that's what happened for their goal. That was potentially offside, potentially not. I'm not too sure. I've not seen the replay. And then, well, the second goal, I think we could all see that coming for about 30 minutes before it came on, because they just kept knocking on the door. And instead of kind of changing anything, it was like, okay, that's how long's left of this time, lads. We know this formation. You know what I want you to do. Just see if it works. And I kind of wish we just we haven't really got an identity, and a lot of teams in this league don't. But I kind of wish I could see more of a plan B rather than just a plan A and a plan 1B. Yeah, I mean, so to speak.
Nice, I like it. Plan 1B. Right, so we'll move on now to the fans' thoughts and questions. And I have to be honest, we've got a lot to get through this week. And as you'll notice over the next 10 to 15 minutes, there is a common trend and a common word, rigidity, which keeps coming up. So let's get through as much as we can. So Marco, I'm going to kick off with you. Flat Caps and Bovril messaged me on Saturday evening after the game, and he says, look, I wonder if it's worth discussing Butler's insistence on playing this system. He mentioned midweek that Chester often change their formation, which keeps opponent managers guessing. Are we at times too predictable? Fans are starting to wonder why the goals have dried up. It seems obvious to me.
I think it's nail on the head. I mean, we jokingly said before the season even started that Brackley might be a really good game because they don't know what's coming, and neither did we. So the five at the back really did seem to work against Brackley. But then as the season progresses and every team knows what's coming, they know we're not going to change shape, they know the personnel that's going to play, it's very easy to suss out. And I think, like Tom said earlier, if you take the wing-backs out of the equation, then what have we got? It's a very, not defensive midfield, but it's not, we've taken Butterfield out, it's not the most, there's not the most assists coming or goals. So you have took a lot of that out. Cloonan's not going to grab you five goals a season, is he? So it literally is just Whitehall up there. So as soon as you nullify the wing backs, there's no attacking threat whatsoever. But yeah, as like Flatcap said, I think he's spot on. There's just no. I know we mentioned that identity, but that creativity is really lacking. Roberts in a 10 has worked to some extent, but I would really like to see him out wide. We know what I want. It's Lauren Roberts, but we won't get it.
And Max, similar kind of vibe really from NPC. He says, is Butler too rigid with his approach? He has adapted a siege mentality, judging by his post-match interviews.
I don't mind a siege mentality if it works. I think For goodness sake, Ferguson did it at Manchester United for years and years and years, even when they were the biggest club in the country, winning titles left, right, and centre. And us against them mentality can work. Do I think Butler is too inflexible during the in-game in a lot of games? Yeah, I do so far. When you play that 5-3-2 with your wing backs, those two immediately become your most important players. I actually thought Denton had a pretty reasonable game on Saturday. I'm not his biggest fan, but I did think he was trying to get forward. I thought in possession he looked okay. I thought Barrows looked like a fullback. I thought there was 4 or 5 chances in that second half, right in front of that away end, where the space in front of him, or we could go for an overlapping run, particularly on the outside of Roberts, and he didn't. He checked back inside, played the ball to either the centre half or to Clunan. And that's either Butler and Schofield tactically setting him up in that way, or they need to change that fact. They need to be able to drill into the wing backs. You're really important. If a side compresses the space, keeps it narrow, those wing backs become our most important creative outlet. We've got to do better. We've got to react better to those in-game situations.
Yeah, what's really annoying is, I know you mentioned Denton there. I think I prefer Denton to Kelly, but I think Kelly has arguably been better than Denton this season going forward, which for me is a real shock. I didn't expect that. I didn't think he'd get much game time at all. But my second point is, what's really frustrating is this formation would have suited Regan Ogle down to the ground, which is what's more frustrating. Like, we've had Ogle for how many years been in the club? 3 or 4 years? And then, he's left and we thought, we've got the perfect formation for when he's gone. But yeah, that's no disrespect to Barrows, because again, early on in the season I thought he was great, but yeah, it's really annoying.
Tom, next one for you is from Eloise, and she says, do you think the negativity after games, booing, confrontation is beneficial to the players, and is it necessary?
I get why, in a sense, because obviously we've gone to Chester, and let's be honest, attacking, we haven't really give it much of a go. So obviously people have spent their Saturday. I mean, they've decided to. I mean, it's the first day off work for many of them, and they've gone and that. But I don't really think you can say we've got one game in hand. We're 1 point still at the top. I'd have took this all day long. Yes, for the past month we have. Should we say knackered off? If I can say that on here, I'm not too sure. But
there's been a lot worse said, mate. I won't worry about that.
we have knackered off. I do think, to Marco's point, I think Marco hit the nail on the head. I really think it is, because before they were like, well, we don't know how Butler plays. Butler hasn't got an identity. He's his first coaching job in male football, and then now it's like, well, we've seen the tape, and it's this over and over and over again. So now we can just do this, nullify the fullbacks, and just give it a go. Obviously, it doesn't help that to a lot of people. I think a lot of people don't understand this. We are most teams' big day out, so they're happy with a point. So like sometimes we start games and they're happy with a point. They're not really trying. So I don't really think it's justified. I definitely don't think the way Chester went, we'll speak about that later. I definitely don't think that was justified. But at the end of the day, if somebody told you at the start of the season, it'd be this week, you'd be one game in hand and 1 point top, you'd all take it. So how can you boo if that's what you'd take? You can't at one part of the season go, yeah, I'd take that, and now you've seen a month of, let's be honest, us not at our best, suddenly now not take it, because in theory, yes, we are very fortunate, but we're still in the situation, and that's all that matters.
I guess, to counter that, play devil's advocate here, it takes 2 to tango, and at full time, look, is it right that fans are booing at this point? Probably not, right? But people get annoyed, and that's the way it is. I just would like to, maybe suggest that, is it really worth management or whoever kind of tackling that situation and confronting them? Because what I saw on Saturday was it bubbling over a little bit, but nothing over the top from the fans. And then kind of the management team, Butler, having a bit of a nibble back. I suppose it's okay, but is it really necessary, Max?
No, I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it's helpful. It's not the first time it's happened at Chester. I'm fans of the right generation. Well, I want to say, remember an incident in the late 90s with Jamie Patterson. I had to be torn away from a Scunthorpe fan. I think it's the kind of ground where you can hear everything. You know, it's not out in the open, but that way it's only 6 rows. You're really close to the pitch. You know, if you shout something, then they're going to hear you. Look, it's a passionate sport. We're all guilty of it sometimes. I didn't actually see the post-match incident because I buggered off quickly to get back on the bus. But look, they've got the walk away. I would usually not be in favour of, particularly after a draw, fans really shouting at players or managers. But unfortunately, at that moment, the players, the manager, whoever it is, they've got to then walk away. They've got to then be the bigger man, clap them, lick your wounds and sod off. It wasn't helpful to spend any more last season. It certainly, I don't think, was helpful against Chester on Saturday. And you just hope that if and when we have another result and another performance at some point later on in the season where things don't go our way, that things don't repeat. Because that's when it's concerning to me, is when it happens more than once.
And look, you know, with Scunthorpe United, it's not right, but like we're going to kick off, aren't we? We're in the step 2, mate. We're in the 6th division. Like we're frustrated at not winning games. Of course we are, and it's not right, you know, that fans boo. But like you say, you just got to walk away. It is what it is. Football fans are football fans. We're a professional football team, you know. Anyway, right. So the next question, Marco, comes from Nick Bell, and I know you'll like this one. He says, "Do we need to add another striker? Deck Howe at Gainsborough looks pretty good. Will Butler ever change this formation?" And finally, Jason Law must be absolutely fuming as our recent performances have been awful and he still can't get in the squad. Can see him wanting to leave.
There's no way Law will be here. I mean, it doesn't matter about January because obviously there's no transfer window. But I'll be amazed if there are teams looking at the situation we're in and seeing him not making our squad, because I feel like he starts for any other team in this division. Do we need another striker? No. I think by changing the shape, we eliminate that. We've got Carlton to come back into it. I think we're screaming for 4-3-3. I don't think the answer is 4-4-2. So you still do have that one striker from the middle. And we saw last year that really suits Whitehall. And you saw his best in that formation. And then obviously with Carlton to come back into the fold as well, I think we do have cover. It's no secret that Butler doesn't seem to think Fishburn is that man or can do that job. So yeah, look, Law will be fuming, but I think a lot of Iron fans are fuming. It's someone who started a lot of games for Mansfield at a lot higher level. Don't get me wrong, we can't just shove him in his formation out of position. I don't think he suits for 10. He needs to be on the wing. But while we're not playing wingers, I do get him not being on the bench, which I didn't think, which is crazy. So yeah, I agree with Nick there. But I don't think we need to bring another striker in. I do think we need some creativity, but I don't think that's through a number 9.
Well, Tom, we'll sit with that because Stephen Howe asks, can we afford to wait for Carlton to be fit? Or do we bring in another front man from League 1 or 2, or possibly even the National League on a loan? Or do we look to buy a player potentially from the league below?
Me again?
No, Tom.
Oh.
You greedy shot, Marco. Shut up. Let me speak.
He didn't say.
I don't respond either, to be fair. It cut out. But no, I don't think we necessarily, to join on what Marco said, I don't think we necessarily need to be looking at a striker just yet. I'm not too sure how long Carlton's going to be out for, because apparently he told some people at the Oxford game that I bumped into him that he was just waiting to be picked at this point. So, and then Butler kind of turned around and went, well, he's not fit at all, and there's no real time scale to when he's going to come back.
This is absolute peak non-league, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
It sounds more like EastEnders.
I think for me, it's just a case of I don't think we need one, but I don't think it hurts in looking. If one comes that we think fits and we can get them, I don't think there's no harm in getting them. But I do think there's bigger things to be looking at now than thinking just bringing players through the door is going to fix this, like Marco and Max has gone to. I think we need to kind of look at the tactics and stuff and how we're approaching teams. And like say, you've got Law, who's perfect, and in my opinion, I think he's great. He's played at a higher level, and he's just sat there. Like, we might not need to sign people. We might just need to use the players that we've actually got.
With regard to bringing a striker in, we could have had Erwin Howland up front this year. He's not scoring. There's no chances. I know Whitehall's missed a couple of chances. This formation does not create much opportunities for Whitehall at all. I reckon compared to last season, it has been so minimal.
How many? I think back to Saturday. How many genuine chances did we have during that game?
One or two.
The one in the first half where the keeper was off his line, and I want to say, was it Beeston and slightly under hit it? In the second half, I mean, in a way, our best moment was almost like when Whitehall got through, but then he didn't quite have the pace to hold off his man. That chance in the second half, and dare I say, even in the first, the man I would have wanted there was Danny Elliott. And I do think we have. Oh, Marco disagrees. I love it.
I agree. I fully agree.
No, I get it. And look, none of us had a problem with Elliott. We were spoiled for riches, though. And I think realistically, with the direction the club's going in, there was no chance we could have realistically had Elliott and Whitehall at the club this year. There's no chance. Just financially, and especially with one up front, you couldn't have pleased both. So I'm not surprised, but I agree with Max. Elliott, that first one, he's got the pace.
And you know, how many times... was it the Oxford City game? I think Whitehall did miss two pretty reasonable chances. I would have expected him to have scored one. But, you know, Beeston, to say that he was playing up front on Saturday, was feeding off absolute scraps. How many times was our outball a long punt into the left-hand channel, and you see him running off and trying to press the defender, but it's a completely hopeless task. And then, lo and behold, everybody wonders, well, why do we look knackered for the last 10 minutes? Well, because they've been having to do that for all game, and we've made no bloody subs.
I'm going to read out Stuart Moore's opinion because I'm very kind of mindful of time, and we've got so many fans' comments. I don't think we're going to get through many more. But Stu says, "Hi everyone, hope you're well. I'm not a big fan on having opinions on tactics, formations. I trust in the manager who works with players all week. The guy with his coaching badges, the guy who has many years of experience in different roles at the club, the guy who has got us to the top of the league, beating teams we lost or drew to last season. I have faith in Butler, full stop. I believe when Carlton is back, we will score many more goals with his work ethic and pace. He will create as many as he scores as well. It's been bad luck with suspension, injury, and his adjustment to full-time from part-time. The club are right to increase his contract for his commitment and success so far." Well, super fan Stuart Moore there, reining into Butler's defence. Let's have a few more questions if we can. So, Max, Rick Waterworth says, "Good day from the outback, Brisbane." Not sure if Brisbane is the outback, is it?
Anyway. No, as you well, it's not.
It's coastal, isn't it? Anyway, right. Good day. How do you compare Butler and Dean's management after just a couple of months? Keep up the great work with the podcasts. Cheers, Rick.
Very, very different. I think Butler has had a better off-field hand dealt to him, but a skinnier budget. I think if you add some of the players last season, a Connor Smith, a Danny Elliott, our creativity in the final third looks different. But personally, I still think that Dean deserved a season without off-field carnage, and he never got that, and I think that's a real shame.
Fair enough, look. Decisions were made. Butler's the man in charge. I back Butler. I think he's the right man. I rate him a lot. I think, look, he's learning on the job, okay? Of course he is. And things are going to take time. But I also like Dean. Like, I probably thought at the time it was the wrong decision to get rid of him as well. So I'm kind of torn. But the situation we find ourselves in, Andy Butler's our manager. We've got to back him, right? So I'm going to finish with this last one from AD Winter, just because I know you're going to love this one, Marco. So AD says, "Just have a shot. You don't test the keeper, you don't score. Barra jumped the queue twice on Saturday to get a cup of tea. Did he push in for his haircut too?" A bit harsh, that, isn't it? What have you started, Marco? What have you started, mate?
You know it's bad when the bald guy can take the piss out of someone else's hair.
Yeah. That's you, Marco, not AD, for the record.
No, it's me. But yeah, no, look, with regards to just shooting, I think Max just touched on it then. We've lost your Connor Smiths, we've lost Butterfield, a lot of creativity, and people that you'd back to be shooting outside the box, they've gone. Clunan isn't that man, Beeston isn't that man. In fact, one for Iron Stats, I'd be interested, barring free kicks, to see how many goals we've scored from outside the area this year. So it's not many. But you skipping with a queue, that's totally unacceptable. That's worse than 5.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
I think I've got a new idiot of the week already.
No, that didn't happen. My dad was in the queue, and I went to see my dad and just asked him, "Since you're in the queue, do you fancy getting the kids a drink?" That's all it was.
First, you want to. I'll tell you what that is. That's for German. That's for German in Barra. Saving sunbeds. It's not. It's saving sunbeds and saving spots in queues.
It is, and I think we get Tom to host next week because of that.
Hey, listen, I'll take the week off. No problem at all.
Just to, if you don't mind me saying though, regarding Butler, just to go on what you guys were saying earlier, I think you can so clearly tell that he was a defender in his playing days, because you can clearly tell that he's managerial. The defence seems to be pretty sure. I think, yeah, Chester got in a bit easy, but I think more often than not, the defence is there. I just think we kind of need to give him a bit of time, because I do think some of the fans don't realise this is his first stint at it, and it's all right him getting the defence right, because throughout his whole career he was with the defensive coaches and stuff like that. And I know he's got his badges, but learning your badges is very different to just being able to go, right, these are the group of players I've got. This is exactly how we're going to be able to get the ball upfield successfully 7 out of 10 times.
We've only conceded 5 goals this season. It's the lowest in the whole league. Defensively, I don't think there's any problems at all, but people aren't complaining about the back 5 off 3.
And actually, as well, you think of those 5, you think of how many of them were avoidable.
Yeah,
40% of that's against Oxford City. I think of the goal against Chorley, which was so out of character with usually how tactically they set up from set pieces, even in second phases. It could very easily have been fewer than that. Defensively, I don't think we've had too many games where we've thought, "Oh God, this is a bit hairy." But look, it's not 2 points for a win; it's 3 points for a win.
Well, and the thing is, that's what we expected from Butler. When he came in, we thought the defence is going to be spot on, and to be fair to him, it has been. I don't think the defence is problem at all. It's just look. I think football's real fine margins. I do think what the situation we're in is very changeable, and I think just a little bit of creativity, 1 or 2 chances going our way, I do think we'll be fine.
Right, I'm really sorry we've not got through all the questions, but we are pressed for time. We are the Iron Hour podcast, not the Iron Hour in 20 Minutes podcast. So we will stick with what we've got for now. Thank you very much for getting in touch. We'll do the same for the next podcast. So please keep these questions coming, because we will try and answer as many as we can. But coming up next, we have this. Well, the Spine the Camp segment this week takes us all the way to the Midlands, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined by Rushall Olympic's Vice Chairman, Nick Allen. Thanks for joining us today, Nick. How are you doing?
I'm good, Andy. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you, and well done for all the hard work you do for your club.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, the season so far for Rushall, you currently sit in 20th position, but it was a really tough start for you, actually. I make it 5 defeats from the opening 6 games. Was it alarm bells, panic stations at that point, or is it very much trust the process?
You absolutely trust the process. As a club, we're a village club really, and getting to this level of football, it's pinch yourself time stuff really. But the backdrop to it all is we lost our manager at the end of last season, who'd been with us for 6 years and had done a great job getting us up to the level and keeping us there for a season. So it was a complete rebuild, because as you know, when a manager leaves, often players sort of go with that manager, and that's occurred, and they've gone to other places as well. So we're talking about a complete new squad, new manager, and playing at a level of football which is way beyond our natural fit. So all in all, along with a little FA Cup run that we're having at the moment as well, it's been a good start to the season, and I think the margins are so tight, as you know, at our level. I was looking at flash scores during the game on Saturday, and we're 1-0 down against Darlington. And we're 1 off bottom, and we get an equaliser, and we're 5th from bottom. So you know what this league's like. You put a run of 2 or 3 wins together, you can go from the sort of the bottom places up to sort of mid-table safety. So for us at our level, the size of our club, we just enjoy the ride, and it's tough going, and we're under no illusions. But success for us, Andy, will be to stay up. And if we can achieve that, along with what we're doing in the Cup this season, it will be success for our club.
Absolutely. I mean, you touched there on the FA Cup run that you've been on, and kind of culminated really in knocking Peterborough Sports out on penalties. And then to get the draw of Accrington Stanley, was it a little bit of disappointment there? Would you hope for something bigger, or very much, a big tie against a league club and hope to progress even to the second round?
I think it's a great tie. I mean, I think you look at the FA Cup for our levels of football, there's still a real magic in there, and for us, we've never got there before. So it's been something season on season. You look at it and go, can we get there? Can we get there? And we've had some stinkers of draws over the seasons. We've got to the final qualifying round on this. This is the fourth occasion now, and we've had Grimsby Town away, York City away, probably first round ties in themselves. So we look at that tie, and we thought we might have a little sniff of a TV tie, to be honest, because you look at the elements of it. Ourselves, we're near the bottom of our league, 2 leagues below where Accrington Stanley are. They've not had the best of times recently, and it's one of those. If they don't play well and we play our absolute optimum, you never know. So, but and I know, in terms of the higher echelons, that money takes that preference. You look at the Wrexham story, Birmingham City, they've got the TV ties. So we've got a highlights package, which is good for our club. So more people will know who Rushall Olympic are, after the process. But we're looking forward to it. I think it's a great time. We're really pleased with it.
No, and we're pleased for you as well. I mean, we enjoyed the good hospitality at Rushall last season. Obviously, coming up against you twice, and we'll touch on that in a moment. But at the weekend, as you say, a 1-1 draw against Darlington, who currently sit in 14th, and Danny King getting on the score sheet. And we saw your tweet actually where you kind of praised him for getting his goal. Was there a bit of a backstory there?
Yeah, Danny's he's a great guy. He's coming to our club this season. He has played at the level before for Gloucester City, and was playing at Redditch United, a league below, last season. And Danny is just a great guy, and he's a good player. And he's had some terrible news in the last 2 or 3 weeks, where unfortunately his father passed away, totally out of the blue, heart attack, 52 years of age, which I don't know how you deal with that. And I think Danny's going to go through a long process with it. But as you saw on Saturday, we've welcomed his family to the club. We've had them in hospitality, looked after them, because the big thing for Danny was he wants to play football. And his father, was at his proudest watching him play football. So that's his release for him. And he came on Saturday, was on the bench, scored a fabulous goal. And he got a tribute to his father as well, and all the supporters. As you know, in non-league football, everybody knows everybody, and everybody plays their part in the day in winning and losing football matches. So everybody's behind Danny at the club, and it was fantastic to see him get that goal and look to the skies, and his dad's watching over him, and that's what you get non-league football. Emotions run so high. And you get in the bar afterwards with Danny, and all the supporters are there with him. And it really is, a big family at our club.
100%. Just want to echo those sentiments. As you say, the football community always stands with people in these tragic circumstances. And I know I speak for every Iron fan when I say we wish Danny nothing but the best of luck. And obviously our thoughts are with him at this time. So no, definitely just want to echo that. So we came up against Rushall twice last season, actually managed to do the double over Rushall last season, 3-0 at your place, which, to be honest, I thought we was going to struggle on the artificial surface. So that was an interesting game for me. But the one that stands out, and actually it's one of my takeaway games from last season, was you guys visiting us. And in the end, it was 2-0. But I'd have to be honest, I thought the scoreline flattered us. It was 2 late goals on the day. And I remember turning to my friend on that day and saying, Rushall are just frustrating us, just doing everything you would expect a team to do when you come away to a better opposition, just frustrate, take time out of the game. Do you think we could expect to see something similar tomorrow night, or Rushall going for it? Is it 3 points?
Look, these games that we play when we come to clubs like Scunthorpe United, we never thought we'd be in this position as a club. So,
neither did we.
I know. I mean, the context is, we look back at your history 12, 13 years ago, you're playing in the Championship, which is probably a wider chat about clubs and owners and stability and all sorts, And I know you guys have been through it. You've really been through the mill. But no, I mean, we'll look at what we've got personnel-wise. We've obviously got to balance what we've got coming up with a small squad, and we've got a couple of injuries. But the new manager, he's a front foot guy, and he'll go there and we'll battle and he'll scrap. And I think we'll be, quite defensively minded, but we've got a little bit of pace as well on the attack. And if we can stay in the game for long periods, as we did at your place last season, and actually had some great chances. There was a young guy called Owen Hussain who had just joined us then on loan from Derby County, and he missed 2 or 3 great chances. But he's gone on from us, had a great time with us. He's gone on to Gateshead now full time, and if he'd have just been maybe a little bit more settled in at the time, who knows if we'd have grabbed a goal, we'd have done our damnedest to hold on to it. But we'll enjoy the evening. I keep saying this, and however long we're at this level, because it's really hard with the resources and the crowds that we've got to compete against clubs like yourselves. But we'll come, have a go, meet some good people, enjoy our night, and we'll see what happens.
And just looking ahead then for the rest of the season, what's kind of Rushall's aim this season? Avoid relegation or hope for a bit more mid-table maybe?
It'd be nice to be safer earlier, but this league's brutal, as you know, week in, week out. That 4th relegation spot. I mean, we're going to the last game of the season last season not being safe with 54 points. Now,
that's a lot of points, by the way. A lot of points not to be safe.
You could be top 8 in some leagues around the country with that number of points. So it went right to the wire. But, this season, in a close season, we've achieved a lot because we've done quite a bit at our ground. I mean, there was an investment of about £500,000 to sort of stay in the league, really, to get the capacity up to just under 3,300, new stand, new terracing, new floodlights, new turnstile block. So that was huge. That went right to the wire. We had some issues with contractors, and it was working through the night stuff. It really was. So get that done. Then a manager leaves, so it's a complete rebuild and a complete new squad. So that's another hurdle. We're working on the job with that as the season goes. And come the end of the season, if we're that one place above, that 4th spot, and you look at the season as a whole, it would be a remarkable achievement. And I think there's lots of people who don't really understand non-league football, and people who watch a lot of league clubs, they go, well, non-league football, that's it. It's just a group of clubs. It's Sunday morning stuff and all this rubbish that you get. But there's some really good clubs, and some really good players at our level. And the amount of work that goes into it is absolutely, unreal. And if we can stay up in relative terms, you look at something like Villa getting into the Champions League. In relative terms, it's as big as that. Although Rushall Olympic playing in the National League North, it's unbelievable. So if we can stay up for another season, try and get more people through the gates, because it's impossible without that. Try and draw some more investment, and I mean the right investment into the club. Some people who can come and help in terms of sponsors and what have you. That's the aim, and we're talking about volunteers here. We're not talking about operation directors of football, CEOs. We're talking about 4 or 5 people who are just trying to keep the club going, pointed in the right direction, and have some success. If we stay up for another season, allied to the FA Cup run that we've had, it will be another phenomenal achievement for us.
Thank you very much for your thoughts there, and wish Rushall all the best of luck for the rest of the season.
You're welcome, Andy. See you tomorrow.
Well, they were the thoughts there from Rushall Olympic Vice Chair, Mr. Nick Allen, ahead of our fixture with Rushall. When this podcast comes out, it will be tonight. Max, interesting to hear what he had to say there about striker Danny King, obviously coming back and under quite tragic circumstances, really. So it was great to see him get his goal on Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially at this level, it is a reminder of just how normal footballers are. You know, all the things that they go through. I can certainly remember when Billy Sharp played football, when he come back after the tragic passing of his son, he was playing at Doncaster. But in a lot of ways, that's football at its best when it happens to players at Rushall or Scunthorpe or wherever else it might be. That when you've got that thing that unifies you all, it can be a real proper family. So yeah, I thought Nick's comments were really poignant on that, and I'm sure everyone down in Rushall will be supporting him, and rightly so.
Mark, I thought it was quite interesting when I kind of pressed him on the bad start they had, losing 5 of the first 6 games, just to repeat the point we heard just a moment ago. But again, I thought it was interesting when I asked him, do you think it'll be a case of coming for a point and seeing if you can get out there with a draw? And he said, we're going to have a go. We're going to have a real go tomorrow. So that's great news, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if they've been watching the last few videos of our games, I don't see why we shouldn't. Because look, they know what to expect. It's going to be back 5. They're there to be got at. If we go 1-0 up, it's not changing. It's still going to be back 5 till the 93rd minute. We give them plenty of opportunities. So why not? I mean, the chances are there to be had. Obviously, we've not conceded many goals, but like I said, last season, and I don't know if you're going to come on to it, they were unfortunate to not at least get a point at the minimum. 2 late goals. I know Semi Ferris got one. I don't know who got the first one. Was it Elliot?
Danny Elliott, yeah.
Elliot. So yeah, look, it'd be nice and refreshing to see a team come and have a go. The Kidderminster game was an absolute cracker, and I think that was 2 good teams. If we could get something similar to that, then yeah, it'd be great. But a great interview as well, thanks to Nick.
That was great, that wasn't it? And Tom, just sticking with the games from last season, the 2 occasions we played Rushall, was there anything you saw last season that kind of sets the panic bells ahead of this game?
I think, well, I guess it's the same with every game, but I just think, especially against a team like Rushall, that the first goal last season was so important, because I even thought away as well. I know obviously the scoreline at the end didn't look like it, but I thought they were giving it a really good go, and it was actually causing us a lot of problems. And then when we kind of got that first goal, it kind of just sucked the life out of them. And then obviously we went on there to demolish them, really. I think they weren't really in the game after that first one. And going to the home game, I do think it was actually a close encounter, and really, it could have gone either way. Obviously, they got sending off, didn't they, at the start of the second half, which didn't really help. And to be fair, it could have still gone either way. It was 2 late goals. So I think they've got to look at that and gone, hey, these are the big fish, so to speak, in the team. And before they scored, you know what I mean, we've had big spells of being in the game. So if I was them, I'd do exactly like you said. I'd come and just give it a go, because at the end of the day, yeah, we've been shored up at the back, but we're not scoring. So they could see it as we nick a goal. These guys haven't been able to score very many. Yeah, I mean, very many recently. So I'd go for it.
As quick as we can, then, guys, let's have goal score predictions ahead of tonight's game against Rushall. Tom, sticking with you, what do you think the score will be?
Despite the attacking woes that we spoke about, I'm going for 2-0. 2-0.
2-0 Iron. Max, what do you think?
I think we've got to win, otherwise fans will really start to panic. I'll go for a scrappy 1-0 Iron win.
And Marco finishes off. What do you reckon?
3-0.
You hold that, and then you're saying we're going to tonk him. You're the worst, mate. You know you are.
Honestly, I think even with 5, I still think we win tomorrow. So yeah,
Tonight,
yeah.
Yeah, famous last words indeed. Okay, so I think we've just about got enough time for Hero, Idiot, and Moment of the Week. But guys, for the 5th time this podcast, we are up against it with time. So if you can, limit your answers to be as short as possible. And yeah, you know who you are, Tom and Max. So let's kick off then with your Hero of the Week. Marco, kick us off. Who's your Hero of the Week?
My hero,
Marco, take as long as you like.
My hero is Heung-min Son. I don't know if anybody saw the weekend, but grabbed a goal, got an assist. Tottenham a massive win. I know me. Took Haaland off captaincy on the FPL.
Oh, see, now he's talking about FPL. All right, I'll rub it in.
And I gave it to Son, and I don't know if anyone saw, but it shot me up the league with Son getting double the points. So my heroes, Heung-min Son.
Nice, good answer. Max, who's your Hero of the Week?
That's not a good answer. Don't encourage him. We can't be having our Heroes of the Week people who give us the most points in FPL.
You wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't, because I kept Danny Welbeck on the bench like a prat.
Now he's in hospital.
Let's see what that gets you, mate. So carry on.
Genuinely, my hero of the week is Nick Allen, the Rushall Vice Chairman. I thought that was a really, really terrific interview. I know we were chatting about it just while we were off air, Barra, and you were saying it is maybe one of your favourites so far this season. Oh, number one.
He's number uno. My favourite spy in the camp guest, I have to say. And I'm sorry, stop the affiliates. I know you're listening. I'm sorry I didn't get to ask you a question as well. You're number two.
Oh, there we go. Make a politician out of him with an answer like that. But yeah, no, I thought it was terrific. I thought that was really good from Nick and a really good interview from your good self as well.
Cheers, dude. And Tom, who's your hero of the week?
Controversial one. Thomas Tuchel, because obviously I'm as people know, I'm fond of Chelsea, and obviously he's not English, which is not great. But to shorten my answer for you, I think we've not won something in that long, thanks to Marco's team being one of them. And
boo.
Spain being the other, I think it's getting to the point where if someone told me Tinky Winky could be in charge and we get up the line and reset the clock, because you know what I mean, this song seems to be getting the year seems to be getting well, I think it's all of our lifetime, to say the least. So I think he's done really well with the media, and he was the best man available for the job. He's not English by all means, but I think he's the best man available for the job. And hopefully in the World Cup we can reset the clock, or if not, it might be Tinky Winky that's taking charge.
I was always more of a fan of Poe myself.
I don't know. Whichever Teletubby wouldn't play five at the back is the one I want.
Lala's a 3-4-3 man.
Give me more. I can see Poe. 90th minute in America, going down. It's a scooter she's got, isn't it? The scooter going down the scooter to Cole Palmer. I can see it now, mate.
This is took a turn.
Can I just say we've been nominated for awards,
and it's that kind of insight into how tactically the Teletubbies would set up England.
Yeah, people turned this podcast on thinking, what formation would the Teletubbies play?
Whereas I'm thinking Dipstick would definitely play 4-4-2 with Paul Scholes on the left wing.
Is that what you call him, McLaren? Dipstick? Right, so I'm definitely going to give the points to Max because, as I say, Nick Allen, my favourite guest on Spine the Camp so far. Idiot of the week, Max. Who's your idiot of the week?
All the Arsenal fans who've been claiming that there was a refereeing conspiracy against them, and that the PGMOL, the referee body, are some sort of Spurs supporting the Illuminati or whatever the bloody hell they're claiming. I'm sick of it. I think they need to look at themselves in the mirror. I think their lack of discipline in key games this season is going to cost them the title. And I think that it was the correct decision to send off Saliba. They got lucky twice so far this season, and third time's the charm. It was a good win for Bournemouth. So yeah, my idiot of the week's Arsenal fans.
I must have missed that conspiracy that Stockley Park is under a Pizza Express. Marco, who's your?
Do you see all the ones on Twitter claiming that like Howard Webb was wearing an earpiece and was like telling them to send them off? Mark, I don't encourage these people.
We can't lie and say, "Oh, he's not wearing a earpiece," and then just wink. He was absolutely wearing an earpiece and was obviously listening to what they had to say. I'm not saying he had an impact on obviously the decision. But the thing is with that decision, sorry, Barra, I said we'd be quick. It's so subjective. You've got to take into consideration the distance from goal, the fact that will the defender get back? Will that player have a clear shot on target? It was a really tough decision, but I do get why they sent him off. But it could have gone either way. There's no conspiracy against Arsenal.
Marco, who's your idiot of the week?
It's joint, and it's sort of with Max as well. Double Man City. One, that's offside their goal yesterday, 100%. He's 100% interfering in play. If he's not interfering in play, why is he stood there? It's just, the rule needs to be changed. He's pushed the goalkeeper while the ball's in the air. If that's not interfering in play, then I don't know football. And then joint with Man City women. I don't like Man City. Man City women.
You don't like women? Was that going to be what you were going to say next?
Man City women.
Believe me.
Signing a petition, this is just honestly, signing a petition to FIFA regarding the sponsor of a Saudi oil group. This is Manchester City women complaining about oil money. Makes sense. Come on.
Right, I could defend the Man City women there. Barra's tapping at his watch. Fair.
Play on.
Not everybody has to approve of all the things that their bosses do. You can work for McDonald's and be a vegetarian because you've got bills to pay.
Yeah, you have carrot sticks.
I do, however, completely agree with the Man City goal. That should have been disallowed. Was it Bill Shankly who said, if you're not interfering with play, what the bloody hell are you doing on the pitch?
Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree with that one. I've got more time with the women.
No, because the thing with me, the Man City women are right. They are 100% right. But one, there shouldn't be oil money in Man City because we all know what's happened there and the 115 charges. And two, yes, they're right. There shouldn't be Saudi oil monies sponsoring them. But this is the world we live in. And if you condone playing for that regime, then look, they're going to sponsor you.
Tom, who's your idiot of the week?
Well, I'm trying to be honest with you, because I know you'll be pointing at your watch. Mine was actually the Man City decision, because that was disgraceful. But on top of the spot, I'm going to go for Sanchez for Chelsea, because how that man gets a wage every week, I don't know. I've never seen more scary keeping than that in my entire life. I think if Chelsea are going to get any further, especially the Arsenal and Man City, I think he needs to go, and he needs to go now. He's awful. To
be fair, sorry, Barra. It'd be interesting if Kepa's still on Chelsea's books, because he's having a really good season for Bournemouth. And playing out from the back, it doesn't suit Sanchez. Whereas I think Kepa would probably be more intact. Like, is he not there?
Yeah, I do.
No, I'm saying the conversation's dead. Tom gets the point. Right, moment of the week. Max, what was your moment of the week?
You squirming every time one of us goes to open our mouths. My moment of the week was the potentially crazy news that we saw Thursday morning, that Tranmere Rovers were theoretically due to be taken over for 15 million quid by, amongst others, ASAP Rocky, who I definitely didn't know who that was. Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was Rocky in a Rush. Barra likes that one. Well, that's why he's running up and down the stairs.
Look at Tom's face. Tom's like, what the fucking hell is this shit?
We've been nominated for a while.
Well, you know when at the start, it's the big building in Philadelphia, isn't it? When Rocky runs up and down the steps. That's ASAP Rocky. That's him in a Rush.
Max, if I showed you a picture of ASAP Rocky, do you think you'd know who he was?
If
I
said,
no. Look, Max, it's me lock screen or something, would you say, "Oh, Tom, I've got ASAP Rocky on your screen"?
I don't think it's on his
playlist. What's that you're holding? A phone, you say? Right, Tom, what was your moment of the week?
I had heard of Rihanna, though, who was also part of the takeover, but I've heard of her.
What formation would she play?
I'm going to fall out with Max, because that was mine, and he stole it.
But sorry, Tom. I'm sorry.
But my moment of the week is when I went to collect my Chester ticket. I didn't realise there was a chairman meal going on, so I'm walking through the thing, and I go past someone. Someone says Tom, and I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this? And it was Paul Musselwhite. And for some reason, even though I've got all this on my face now and all the rest of it, it may be because for some fans that might know me, I walk like I need a toilet. But be nominated for award and all that, guys. But vote for these guys. That may be why, but I thought it was quite cool that he remembered who I was. But that's only because Max stole my answer.
No, I like that a lot.
I'm glad I stole your answer now, Tom, because that was terrific.
Marco, what's your moment of the week?
Well, I can't talk about that, but believe it or not, I'm going sensible here. I actually tweeted about this yesterday, but my moment, sort of hero as well, Ian Sharp, he attended an event in Scunthorpe, so Scunthorpe Tomorrow event, which obviously encouraging just people to shout about Scunthorpe. So he had like a lot of businesses there, a lot of people from the local area, and just wanting to make Scunthorpe bigger and to let people know how great it could be and can be. So the fact that Ian Sharp's obviously been away from Scunthorpe and now's obviously come back and wants to reach out to more people to sort of big us up, and he couldn't do anything more with the club because he's doing the best he can there. So I thought that was really good of him, and yeah, fantastic work.
You know what? It's a draw. I'm going to give you the point, Marco. Everyone's won a round. We'll decide it the next time Tom's on. 3 fantastic answers there, and Tom nearly took it. But the sycophant in me thought, let's play up to the chairman and the board. So there we go. Right, And that concludes another episode of the INO podcast. Max, thank you for being on today. Mark Hill, once again, thank you for providing the entertainment. And a special thank you to our special guest this evening, Mr. Tom Shucksmith. Thanks once again for coming on. Up the iron.
See you later.